Hey there guys, so there's a fight coming up at lightweight for the IBF title that I almost forgot about because I was talking about this fight before it got signed because last year I watched Denis Shafikov's fight against Richard Commey, which was I believe an eliminator for the IBF title, and when Shafikov won that fight it looked likely that he was going to be Robert Easter Jr.'s next opponent. So yeah, Robert Easter Jr. is going to be defending his IBF title against Denis Shafikov. Now this is going to be an interesting fight. However, there are a few dynamics to this fight that have to be pointed out immediately. First of all is the insane, and I mean insane, size difference between these two guys. Denis Shafikov is about 5'5" or 5'4", you know, very, very small guy for a lightweight, very short and stocky. Robert Easter Jr. is about 6 foot or 6'1", so there's about a 7 or 8 inch height difference between these two guys. Massive, massive size and reach advantage for Robert Easter Jr. So obviously this is going to be a heck of an uphill battle for Denis Shafikov. Now, this isn't really anything new to Denis Shafikov. He has been the shorter guy several times before in his fight against Richard Commey. Richard Commey was about 4 or 5 inches taller. He also fought Rances Bartholomew, and that was a very, very close fight. I remember watching that fight. It was televised on Spike over here, actually, a week after the fight actually happened. And yeah, they showed it the next Saturday after, and I watched it on TV, and it was a very, very close fight, in fact. Denis Shafikov, despite being considerably smaller, he gave Rances Bartholomew a heck of a lot of problems. He actually outlanded him. The problem was that Denis Shafikov suffered a cut quite early on in the fight, and I think that kept getting worse throughout the fight. So you know, he was taking more damage from the punches, whereas he was landing more. You know, it was that kind of fight. It was close and it was competitive, but you know, it was a very competitive fight, and I felt that despite being the shorter guy, Denis Shafikov, to me, with his pressure and his stamina and his persistence in the ring, gave the taller guy a heck of a lot of issues. Now, I do feel that Robert Easter Jr., in my opinion, is a better fighter than Bartholomew. I think he has better skills. He's even taller, I think, than Bartholomew is. He's got very fast hands. He's a murderous body puncher. I was watching some of his fights recently, and you know, that left hook to the body when he decides to throw it, it's one of his best punches. I mean, Robert Easter Jr. is a very, very dangerous guy, and just with how tall the guy is, and the way that he's able to drop his hands and, you know, stick his chin out there and make guys miss. You know, he's just such an awkward guy to fight. You know, really, really difficult guy. I mean, when he fought Richard Commey, for example, Richard Commey's a tall guy, but even Richard Commey was, you know, he wasn't even as tall as Robert Easter Jr. I mean, the guy just towers over these guys. You know, he's like a Tommy Hearns figure in the ring. Very, very tall and very powerful too, with quick hands, and he's explosive. And, you know, just from what I've seen of Robert Easter Jr., I'm favouring him in this fight, and I'm favouring him in this fight big. Now, another reason why I feel that Robert Easter Jr. should probably win this fight, Denis Shafikov, and look, I hate to be going on about this shit all the time, but the fight's taking place in America, and Denis Shafikov is a Russian fighter who is going to be fighting in America against an American champion who's unbeaten and who's being hyped up by Al Heyman in the PBC and whatnot. So I find it difficult to believe that if the fight is competitive and close, and you know, if any of the rounds are controversial and whatnot, I find it difficult to believe that Robert Easter Jr. won't get the benefit of the doubt in any of those rounds, because you know, we know what history tells us with Russian fighters in America is that, especially with all the anti-Russian propaganda and shit, these guys don't get anything. Okay, they don't get any. They don't get the benefit of the doubt at all. Okay, if a round's close, you know, it's going to go to the opponent, and I think that will be significant here, because with Shafikov being the smaller guy, also with Shafikov not being known as a one-punch knockout artist. Now, Shafikov, he can punch. He did take out Jamal Herring, for example, in the 10th round. But to be honest, I don't really think he's a one-punch type of guy. You know, he's not like a Gennady Golovkin type puncher. And even though he trains with Abel Sanchez and Golovkin, and he fights with that same kind of relentless pressure, I don't think he has the punching power to really be that effective against guys that are bigger than him. And I think that's the reason why he wasn't really able to put a dent in Bartholomew, even though he was able to outland Bartholomew and land a lot of shots. Wasn't able to put a dent in the guy, wasn't able to seriously hurt him at all. So I think that it's going to be difficult for him here. I think it's going to be an uphill battle. I think he's going to be walking into punches. I think that the left hook to the body from Robert Easter Jr. is going to be catching Shafikov on the way in. I think if Robert Easter Jr. just leans back when Shafikov goes to land a left hand, I think that he'll be open for a counter right, because Robert Easter Jr. has a very effective straight right hand. Shafikov, being a southpaw, will probably be vulnerable to that at times. I think that at the same time, what Shafikov needs to do here is obvious, okay? He has to get inside. He has to work the body. He has to be very, very aggressive here. He has to have an intense training camp where he's doing a heck of a lot of bag work and a heck of a lot of sparring. And, you know, he's going to need to train for a hard, grueling 12-round affair where he's going to have to chop this guy down like a tree. And I don't see him being able to do it. I just think that Robert Easter Jr. is just too young, too fit, too effective. You know, Shafikov's in his 30s now, and he's had a long, hard career. And I just think that at the stage of the careers that these two guys are at, I think it's going to be a very tough ask for Denis Shafikov to win this fight. So I'm going to go with Robert Easter Jr. to win, either by a clear decision or by a late stoppage. And the reason I say a late stoppage is because I think that if he's able to get Shafikov to the body, I think Shafikov will give him opportunities later in the fight as he starts to tire. Because Shafikov, in his last fight, for example, against Richard Comey, he did seem quite tired at times, and I don't think that his stamina is really the best at this stage in his 30s. So yeah, it's going to be a good fight while it lasts. You know, I'm pretty sure Shafikov will bring the fight. I'm sure he'll try his best, but I just don't see him being able to pull it off. Okay, a Russian in America against an unbeaten American champion who has about 7 or 8 inches of height on him, you know, as well as being the younger, fresher guy. I can't see Denis Shafikov winning the fight. I'm gonna go with Robert Easter Jr. to win, either a clear decision or a late stoppage. Let me know what you guys think anyway, and thanks for watching.